All right, so we are live. So welcome to Cardboard Conversations, and today with us we have KevMo, also known as Kevin, but he's going to introduce himself in a little while. But Kevin has been a patron of Cardboard Guide for a very long time, and remember, you can also become a patron or a YouTube channel member if you want to support us a little further. And with that little bit of commercial out of the way, let's say hello to KevMo and welcome to Cardboard Conversations, KevMo.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. I'm glad we finally got to link up on this. I know we've been talking about it for a little while, but little minor difference in our times
Yeah,
here. So, but yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you guys so much. Obviously the podcast really loves.
I think we lost KevMo for a moment. Let's see if we actually get him back.
Indeed, we have been experiencing some
Yeah, a little bit
wireless
of
connections
a little bit of
problems.
fallout issues, but we have him back
There
He's
you
again.
go.
back.
Cool.
I am in the mountains, so please bear with me. These trees don't have very good Wi-Fi.
Ah, darn trees, right? Just get rid of them and put up more Wi-Fi towers.
Oh, we're back. Yes. I don't know
We
if you
are.
cut the last part there, but yeah, happy to be here. So thank you guys so much for having me on.
Well, I felt like that was the least we could do. We have had such a great time on your podcast and had some really nice conversations. But I think we could start out like just hearing a bit about your background. So, what is your background specifically with TCGs?
Sure. So I was a very big avid Magic player.
Mm.
I don't remember I don't remember exactly what set I came in. Most people are like, "Oh, I remember coming in at this set and that set." Very early on when I was young, I think I bought like the starter decks that had the forgive me, I don't remember the set, but it was Thorn Elementalist was like big during that time.
Mm.
And I bought those starter decks, and then something happened. I was moving a lot. Those cards ended up getting lost, and I didn't play for quite a while. And then my brother-in-law, he's a really big Magic player, and so when my sister was dating him, we kind of became closer because of our love for these card games, and he got me back into it. And that was probably at least 10 years ago, I'd
Yeah.
say. So since then, pretty big Magic player. I love playing Modern, Commander. I was in Standard for a little while until they kind of changed their structure a little bit, and then it was kind of hard to keep up. But I went early on. Rewind back a little bit. I used to be really big into Pokemon. I did try Yu-Gi-Oh for a little while, and that was really, really fun. I even tried some of the smaller ones, like Digimon, I think was a small one that not a lot of people played. So I kind of tinkered around with some of these other ones, but Magic was the one that I got really big into, and I've been playing that for a long time, and then all of a sudden this thing called Sorcery. I don't know if you guys have heard about it.
No, not
It's
really. Let us
Nah,
know
doesn't
what's
ring a
that.
bell.
Yeah.
So and funny enough, I learned about sorcery because of Magic.
Mm,
I often would find myself in the Magic the Gathering, like Reddit posts and forums and stuff like that. And I believe it was a subreddit, a Magic subreddit that I was reading, and somebody had mentioned some of the artists that were from Magic, and they said, "Hey, some of these artists are in this new game that just came out recently. It's called Sorcery, and it looks really cool, and there's a lot of emphasis on art." And I love card games, and I'll pretty much play anything if it looks cool enough and it's fun enough. So um, sparked my interest. I started clicking around a little bit, and then I saw all these people getting really hyped about it, and I saw the Kickstarter, and I saw that unfortunately I was like a month too late from being able to back the
Whoa.
Kickstarter. It was literally like a month or two, and so I saw that though, and I saw how much attention it was getting. I saw a lot of big names on the artist list, and yeah, it started interest in getting me interested. There you go, and I was lucky enough to buy a box of alpha from a local seller. Local for me is I had to drive almost 3 hours away.
Okay, so local.
That's dedication.
Yeah, yeah, I am kind of in the middle of the forest here, so local for me is at least an hour or so away. But I bought that box of alpha and I brought it home and I opened it right away, and just holding the cards in my hand and looking at all these different arts and the foils, and it was really, really cool. And from there I was hooked. So, that's my history with card games and how I'm now one of you guys hooked into this exciting game of sorcery. So yeah.
Cool. That's awesome to hear. I'm just gonna say hello. We have a pretty busy chat already. Hello.
Yeah, welcome everybody.
I'm seeing Nicholas. I'm seeing Ochoa. I'm seeing Chris, Magus of the Packs, and a lot of other cool people. Thank you so much for joining us. And I think I think we're pretty good with questions. So if you have any questions for KevMo, just feel free to pop it in the chat and I will get back to you as soon as possible.
Indeed. So KevMo, we know you as Kevin, and around the internet you're known as KevMo, and we also know that you have this fantastic podcast, All Things Contested Realm. What made you decide to actually do a podcast? Because it's sort of a special medium, considering that so much of sorcery is actually visual. So why a podcast?
Probably because my limitations of just quite how much I wanted to take on. I have always been interested in wanting to create content. I'm a little bit of an artist. I was an art major, and so creating has always been something I enjoy doing. And back when I was really involved with Magic, I really had an interest at one point in creating something. I wanted to do a YouTube channel or a podcast, but I saw that it was already highly saturated with all these people who have been doing something, and they're bigger names, and I felt like I would just be kind of get lost amongst the small fries, and so I didn't really touch that. And then come into sorcery, I saw that it was very limited with the amount of content creators that we had, and there were a handful of people doing stuff on YouTube. And so I loved the idea of radio, and it's also a little less, I don't know, that less work goes into a podcast because you're only dealing with audio. So I knew that my time is already limited on what I can make happen. So I saw that there was no podcast out yet. And one of my favorite things about being in the Magic was listening to some of the Magic podcasts. And so I thought, well, this is untouched territory. It's untapped.
Yeah.
I don't have to deal with video and all the editing and stuff that goes in that. So I had a friend who already had a really nice microphone because he had kind of worked with music and stuff. And I asked him if I could borrow it, and all the things kind of pieced together. And I said, you know what? I want to try this out. I just want to do something for fun because I think it'll be fun to just talk about this game. And I often tell people there was nothing out there to listen to, and I really wanted something to listen to. So I kind of just created something that I can have as a way of not only expressing myself and creating something, but also to kind of listen to, just because there was nothing else to listen to. So, and I figured if I liked listening to this content as well, then other people will. So I just kind of started creating it without any expectations of anybody hopping on board. And lo and behold, all you people are crazy enough to want to listen to me on a regular basis. So here we are.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm just going to mention it for you. But you recently just opened up a Patreon. So if anybody else is super excited and like me listens on every commute and every time a new episode drops, I think you should definitely check out Patreon for the podcast and give some support, because that is one of our really nice things to listen to. And I listen to each and every episode of it.
Thank you so much for that plug.
Yeah, but it's really actually nice to have a longer podcast to listen to. I have 30 minutes or so commute to work each way, so having a good long podcast to listen to is actually something I really enjoy. So thank you for creating that for us.
Well, thank you. I saw a comment of Ochoa pop up there in the bottom there.
Yeah, it was very nice.
Yeah, it's so well. First of all, shout out to Ochoa, because he was one of the people I first met at the first Sorcery Con, and he was somebody who wanted my first signatures on stuff, and so
Cool.
definitely gave a little bit of an ego boost there that was unnecessary. So it's fun seeing him pop up there. So hey, yeah, it's been such a trip hearing people be so excited for the content that I put out, and especially, like I said, going to Sorcery Con and these conventions, I have people that come up to me and want to meet me and want cards signed and things like that, and it's such a trip to create something that people have so much enjoyment, having part of their regular schedule, or listening as they drive or as they cook or as they do homework or stuff like that. So definitely very humbling and very different. I'm not used to that. So thank you all so much for everybody who, like I said, is crazy enough to want to listen to me on a regular basis. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Did you have like a point where you decided what you wanted to do on the podcast? I mean, did you sit down and think, okay, I'm going to be covering like mostly gameplay, or how do you sort of like decide what kind of content you feel like doing?
Well, I knew that there was going to be a lot of. So let's rewind it here. So I kind of based what I was doing. I kind of based it around what I like listening to from Magic podcasts. So I loved that some of the Magic podcasts that I listened to separated themselves out. You had more of a competitive podcast. You had podcasts that focused on, this or that. And I kind of took ideas from each of these different ones that I really liked listening to and kind of melded it together. And I figured, I want something that touches a little bit in everything and not focuses too much on one thing. And I want that freedom to not put myself in a box where I'm limited and I have to like focus on these certain things. So by doing more of a sorry, forgive me, my allergies and trees are popping up lately. So so I figured by putting myself in a more generic bubble here, I can focus on a lot of different things. And so especially when new things started popping up and we saw all these links and articles of sharing news and stuff like that, I kind of just fell into this whole, I want something that's going to be able to keep people updated on what's happening. I want to just be able to touch on different things here and there, focus on, core little things that I want to focus on, and just kind of bounce around on these topics. So I kind of wanted to keep it very fluid and have that freedom to kind of talk about whatever I wanted to. So it worked out.
Yeah, for sure. So we have our first question for you. Rain is saying, so what's your opinion of the Pudge Butcher canvas art being sold? Notice in the Discord that you got tempted. Wondering what your art opinion is about this great piece from Brian Smith.
Oh man. So it's no surprise that I'm a fan of Pudge Butcher. I think more so because of the whole meme aspect built around Pudge Butcher. I'm a very big fan of memes, puns. Every time Chase is on the main channel making puns and do memes and stuff, it's funny to me. So I love Pudge because of this meme thing that follows it. That Pudge Butcher canvas, it's very tempting. If I hadn't been spending some money on some key collection pieces and some of these trips that have been going on, I would have jumped on that. I'm still considering it. I love Brian Smith's art. I'm a huge fan of his. I had bought a couple of artist proofs of Pudge from him. I have a ongoing Pudge collection here. I can actually grab the binder and show you, but that might be a challenge with the closet here. So yeah, I have a growing collection of Pudge just for the memes of it, and that piece is very tempting to add to my wall. The only reason I'm not really big on pulling the trigger with canvases and art prints and stuff like that is because one, I have a cat, which you probably saw her running around in the background. She's been she's been testing her limits of places she can reach these days, and that mixed with my kind of lifestyle here, having to stay minimalistic and moving around, with the housing and stuff. I'm very nervous collecting actual art pieces because I don't want to have this really nice piece and then something happened to it, like the cat. And so it's been hard to not want to jump on these, but if my situation changes, I might become a little bit more of a physical, either original art piece collector or even just a print. So we'll see. That might change, but I love that piece. It's a fun piece. I love that it's one that Brian even added a little bit more. It's embellished, I guess is the term for it. But he added, on top of it and made it different. So it's not the same as all these other proofs. It does have that embellishment to it. So it's a very cool piece.
Yeah, for sure. And Matthias Frisk is saying that he really enjoys the episode with interviews regarding decks and chats from events. I hope to hear even more in the future. Good job with the pod. What card do you hate the most meeting in a game? The favorite hate card.
Yes. Shout out to Matthias Frisk. Great to see him on here. Thank you for listening. The card that I feel like it always goes back to Chaos Twister because I'm so torn with that card. I love the excitement that happens for the people that love the card. I love seeing the, special Twister ruler, that they place on the table and have to do that. But then with that comes, some people who aren't the biggest fan of the card. And I think it also comes from one of my buddies that I play locally with here. He hates that card. he hates that card. So every time I use that card, he's torn because he's like, well, it's a legal card to use. It is great removal. It's some of the best removal we have in air, but I hate this card. It's such a, so he makes a thing out of it. So I'm still torn. I love the card. I think it's fun. But I also see how, it's this gambling thing. You're taking a chance. It's not consistent. You do have to kind of go out of your way to, find a card and blow it off. But I think the fact that it's the only one card that we really have to do that is fun. So it's, it's fun to see people's reactions. So I'd say that's probably my love-hate card right there. Plus I play Spark Mage, so I gotta love it. It's
for sure.
Yeah, indeed. It's much easier to actually, use on TTS. Less of a hassle. But yeah. And also shout out to Matthias for doing the soldier art token for the Askimas tournament. Thank you, Matthias. And the sketch also arrived. It arrived this Friday, and I've been going around just waiting to do an opening. But an opening is coming, and thank you for sending it. We look really much forward to showing the art piece for everybody.
Yeah, for certain. So I'm just going to connect back to what you said about deciding to do a podcast. And you were like, okay, I have so and so much time. I kind of need to think about how much can I actually do with that time. So what is like a difficult thing about creating content for sorcery or in general?
I'd say my number one worst enemy with it is I'm my own worst critic. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist in the things that I do. I try not to put stuff out that is, hastily made and lower quality than I want it to be. So I'm sure people would probably not care if I had small little issues with the audio or small little imperfections, but I notice it. And if I'm OCD enough at times to notice it, I'm assuming other people will. And they probably don't, but that's probably my biggest challenge is I spend sometimes way too much time editing something because I get rid of the tiniest little, audio clicks or the little background noises of stuff here. And I live in a public housing area. So sometimes you'll get people shouting as they walk by, or you get the, trucks and vehicles and stuff like that. And so I go in there and I edit some of this stuff out. And so I'd say that's probably my biggest challenge. Plus, again, going back to where she's at, this one right here. This one. The camera's reversed, so I'm trying to make it work. This one. She's bathing herself now. Sometimes she likes getting involved with my editing process, and I've had moments where I've lost whole pieces of audio because she decides to jump up on the keyboard Now I'm like, well, I don't know where that went. It's saved, and now I kind of have to, so that plus getting used to this audio editing stuff. I've never done editing to this extent before, so kind of the learning curve that comes with mastering some of the audio and stuff like that. But biggest thing is I'm my own critic, so I spend a little too much time editing this than I should, but I'm working on that. I'm getting a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely. I think we can both like recognize that in the beginning. I mean, it could be days editing stuff, like literal days. And at some point we had to go, okay, I'm not sure that the effort versus how long it takes is going to line up. We need to figure something out. So yeah, definitely we understand that. I'm just gonna grab a few questions from the chat because people have a lot of good ones. So Chris, and by the way, Chris, so great to see you. What's the next artwork you want to buy? If you had like free reign.
I mean that pudge art is pretty tempting. I would probably get that one if I had to buy one at all right now. Aside from that, if I just had free reign, I could buy like any original.
Yeah.
I really love the card Rest in Peace. As Ochoa, who chimed in earlier, would know. I love that card. I love the art. It's by Elvira. I love anything spooky. So that's what first got me there to enjoying that card. I love the spooky artwork. I love how creepy it is. So I would probably love to hang that one on my wall if I had to. I'm also a fan of Spark Mage. I just love the electricity of that. So that would be a fun original piece, or even a print to own, an embellished print or something like that. Yeah, I guess if that's what you count as artwork, like a canvas or something, that would probably be it. Rest in Peace.
Yeah, good choices, I think there. So another friend, mutual friend also, Sorcery Gambas Club, Josh, what do you prefer, seal or draft? And have you had a lot of chances to try the formats out?
Good question. First of all, hey Josh, how's it going? Yeah, so I am very limited with my local play group here. A lot of the time with where I'm at, my play is limited to online with Tabletop Simulator. I do have a couple buddies here, but obviously you can't do much of a sealed or draft event with only 3 or 4 people. Though we did find out that there's a thing called Winston Draft, which is a key Magic the Gathering draft format, which you can do with just you and one other person. So we'll get into that in just a second. Prior to Sorcery Con in Seattle, I hadn't done any draft or sealed. I mostly did constructed. So come Sorcery Con Seattle, I finally had a chance to try draft experience and the sealed experience, and that was really, really fun. I think first of all, I'm a big fan of drafting Magic. I still my Magic collecting has kind of been put on pause for right now because now I'm collecting Sorcery, but I still love going to the occasional pre-release. I kind of really wanted to attend this Modern Horizons 3 pre-release, but it's kind of on the same date as something else that's important. But I love the draft experience. I love that even in Sorcery, you get this really fun experience that is different than you find, playing Sorcery and Constructed. The cards that might not be that great to run in a constructed deck or aren't that popular in meta, all of a sudden become really, really good in this draft format. And it's fun just, opening packs. Everybody loves opening packs. So the fact that draft is part of that. And sealed is definitely its own thing. I love that with draft, you're nervous about what you're passing on to the next person. Like, are they gonna use this drown against me later? Or should I be the, so sealed is fun because you get what you get and then you kind of make the most out of it. It's a pack opening experience. So I have since tried both. I really love them. If I had to choose between the two, I don't know that I could. I love draft because you have that experience of passing something along. You kind of see what's out there. And so you're kind of, it's almost like poker. You read at what everyone else is playing. you kind of anticipate what you're going to have to see. You plan around that. Whereas sealed, it's a surprise. You don't know what everyone else is, pulling in their packs. You don't have to worry about passing something to somebody, or heaven forbid, you accidentally pass along a curio that you opened up. So I have had a chance to try them. I love them both for different reasons, and I'm excited to do more at these upcoming events. So,
good answer.
Definitely. So I'm just gonna,
yes, go
a
it.
little back to the content creation, because we've, brushed upon the subject of just heading into it and the amount of time it takes up. But what has been some of the most rewarding experiences you've had creating content for Sorcery?
Oh, I think I'm going to have to go back to what I had said earlier, just meeting people in person, or even having people reach out online. I love when I see people, on Discord or in other outlets, just reach out and tell me, that they enjoy what I'm doing and that they listen when they, do this or when they do that. Or I've had people say that they listen while they, study, while they make dinner, while they're going to or from work. So just it's fun knowing that I'm part of somebody's daily routine and they listen to that stuff. It's still such a trip to me. But meeting everybody in person was such a big, such a fun thing when I was there at Sorcery Con. And, I had people that were excited to meet me because, we only had chatted online. And so we got to shake hands and take pictures. And I had some people, like I said, want signatures and stuff like that. So it's been really, really cool just having people get so excited. I think Dan Mitchum, aka Frogman Dan, kind of put it the way that I think is the funniest, where he's like, "You guys are making me feel way more famous than I ever need to feel. It's dangerous territory." But no, it's so cool just meeting everybody and seeing how excited people are at the content that I make. So that's definitely been the most rewarding thing, is just hearing how much people enjoy it and get a kick out of what I'm doing. So thank you again to everybody who listens and supports the podcast. It's been fun.
Absolutely. And definitely, if you haven't, you should give it a listen. So we're just going to pick up another question from the chat. Chris, what do you think is the most powerful avatar right now?
Ooh, that's
a good question.
Yeah. Especially because right now, we've been noticing some kind of under the table adjustments to the fact list. I don't know if you guys have been seeing that, but over the last couple of weeks, I guess the team has been making some minor adjustments and not really making it publicly known. So Spark Mage just got a little bit of a buff to everybody who wasn't aware. I'm a big Spark Mage player. I love Spark Mage. Shout out to Metroid Pikmin, the other big Spark Mage player. Me and him are quite excited because they, for all those who aren't aware, they just changed the FAQ, and it says that Spark Mage does not have to be the caster of these spells. It's the player who can be the caster of the spells in order to activate Spark Mage's ability, which means spellcaster heavy decks are in now for Spark Mage, because now you can do its effect just casting things in general. So I don't know that that's going to make Spark Mage the most powerful, but I just learned that myself today. So I'm very excited to go and test that out and see what I can do to abuse that new change. So
for sure.
I'm going to say Spark Mage is one of the most powerful right now, just because. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, aside from Spark Mage, I'm a big Enchantress player. I love the auras and stuff like that. So I think she's very, very strong. Not a lot of people know how to play her yet or play against her. So that's kind of why I did that Enchantress episode with Zalem, to kind of get more people on board with playing her. So I think Enchantress is definitely one of the stronger ones as well.
Definitely. And Zalem also demonstrated that by winning one of the tournaments recently with the
it was much of Immortals.
Yeah, indeed. I
sure.
would also say Enchantress and Avatar of Earth and maybe also the sorcerer. It's a very good
Yeah, I
all
think it's
around
like
avatar.
it's sort of like underrated, but the sorcerer is just it's super flexible, super versatile, works great with a lot of different decks. So there's a lot of people that are like, can you repeat that about the Spark Mage? So give it a go again, Kevin.
I
Yeah.
actually think it's more a reference to somebody that haven't heard the podcast yet. We're like, what? You need to hear it.
Yeah, I'm not certain. We'll,
Okay.
Yeah. I am going to make that. I am going to make sure to take note of that in the next episode that I'm currently editing with you guys. Actually, it's the Beta Curio episode, so that will be coming out soon. I got pushed behind with some life stuff, so that'll be coming out soon. But I am going to make sure I emphasize these changes because that's big. So. Yeah, once again, Spark Mage was originally worded in the so it's the FAQs, the facts, and these are frequently asked questions about the card. So on Curiosa, you have the little things below each card that explains further some details. And before, Spark Mage had been ruled that only spells cast by Spark Mage, being the spellcaster of these spells, counts for Spark Mage's tap ability to be able to do more damage based on the air affinity that you have for those spells, the thresholds. But the judges have felt that it must have happened within the last week or two, and we just recently started noticing it. But the Spark Mage FAQ changed, and now it specifically says, does Spark Mage have to be the caster, or is it you when it says, because the wording in Spark Mage's ability says when you cast a spell. So they changed this to show, to specify that you as the player, doesn't matter which spellcaster you use, but if you as a player cast a spell, now you can activate Spark Mage's ability to be able to do that. So that makes a huge difference because,
for sure.
Now you're not limited to Spark Mage being able to use these, to have to be the one to cast these spells. So you can use something like the Wind Sylph. She can cast a spell, get an extra movement buff, move something, and then you can still include that in Spark Mage's tap ability. So that's big.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, it's very exciting. I want to circle back real quick on your comment about Sorcerer being up there with one of the most powerful. I love Sorcerer. He's very versatile. I think I have a issue with saying that he's very powerful because most of these other avatars you're building around because of their specific abilities. And since Sorcerer, you're not really utilizing his ability when you build decks. Certain ones are, but just the fact that he's being able to draw you extra cards makes him strong. So I don't personally feel like that's a strong thing about this card, because it's not like an ability that helps you get further, like damage wise, such as like Spark Mage. With Enchantress, you have the ability to kind of lock your opponent out of playing auras because you can animate them and destroy them or banish them. So Sorcerer is very, very good. But I have a problem saying it's strong just because it's not like a damage thing or it's not like a board control thing, but drawing cards is always good. So with that, yeah, it's you could fit him in anything and all of a sudden you get card draw advantage. So
indeed, he can make anything work. I think next question is actually really good too.
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, wondered about this because the Askera's tournament, we could see that many of the finalist decks did not contain any water at all. And I think right now the problem with water is that there's a lot of great creatures, but most of them are waterbound. So having something that could negate this waterbound would be really great for water, I think. And we saw the little preview from Arthurian Legends with the knight.
Yes.
And it could look like that he might have some interaction with water. That's our guess, at least, that he might be able to maybe make nearby creatures not be waterbound. It's just a good guess, but I would like to see that card happening because I really think that would, do some changes for water. But what do you think, Kevin?
Oh man, so this is going back to my Magic the Gathering playing. I love blue. I have quite a few decks that I splash blue in just because of the controllability, the versatility that you get with blue. Sorcery does not have much love for water right now. It's very, like you said, kind of water-bound effects. But I would love to see water get more cards to give it more love. I think we need more stuff that, like you said, either helps waterbound things not be waterbound or gives them that freedom to be able to move, or more flooding effects. I think water is it can be strong right now. You definitely have to build around it. Not a lot of meta decks and decks in general build around having to defend against water stuff. You don't just see, you know, a battle mage deck run splashing water just to have drown in case they come across a water deck or something like that. Or I guess that wouldn't really work. Boil, there you go.
Yeah.
You don't really see decks running boil just in case they come across a water deck. So people don't really play with the expectation of, you know, playing against a water deck. So it's very strong in that aspect that not a lot of people plan around playing against it. There's talks that with some certain cards like Arthurian Legends, the Love Potion that was previewed, I've seen people talking about wanting to bring Avatar of Water back because Avatar of Water can teleport herself, basically. And with these potions, being able to put that onto your avatar, teleport anywhere, and all of a sudden crack that potion, take control of something. And the wording with Love Potion says take control of that minion until basically the minion that used Love Potion leaves the battlefield, but your avatar never leaves. So you basically gain permanent control of that thing that you gain control of. So I think Arthurian Legends is definitely going to give water the boost that it needs. I'm excited. I have some Wave Shaper decks that I've played here and there, and I can tell that it's right on the edge of being a very powerful thing. But like you said, we just have so many things that are water bound. So soon, almost
soon.
there.
We're gonna pick another question, then we're going to go back to a few questions from us. So Nicholas is saying, "Do you love the shark?" So great shark.
Yes, I'm assuming by the shark he means the shark.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a big fan of the shark. Just one, because it kind of is a meme on its own as well. It's kind of gained that notoriety.
Water Pudge.
Yeah, especially with comboed with Pudge. I do like how creative the mechanic is with shark. I think it's a very fun mechanic. We don't see a lot of it right now because, again, it's very limited in water. It often kind of bites you back because it does attack your own things. But I love the mechanic here. It's such a unique mechanic. I like seeing decks that are built around the sharks and just trying to cause shenanigans to happen and get people's stuff in there.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, I love cards that have an interesting mechanic that you can tell are a very unique mechanic, that it's only going to take like one or two more cards to really make this mechanic something that can be abused or built around with a deck. So I do love that card. I think it's very interesting, and I'm excited to see, you know, what kind of shark decks people make when we have more stuff from Arthurian Legends. Maybe you can even put a love potion on a shark, and you know, because if he teleports to that thing to fight it, if it's a weaker thing, you can teleport shark there, and then I don't know, some sort of shenanigans if he doesn't die. We'll see.
That would be pretty fun to see. Then I think we're moving into like Sharknado territory with the flying sharks everywhere. Yeah, that would be a meme worthy as well.
Water air deck needs to be called Sharknado.
Yeah, for sure. So hey, Ted Spaceman, thank you for joining us. So right now we're in a bit of a lull. We have like beta boxes are hard to get a hold of. Everybody's like chomping at the bit to know more about Arthurian Legends. But fortunately, there's like a lot of events popping up. So what kind of events have you been going to so far? Which are you going to be going to? And what do you look forward to the most?
Well, I have been very limited with the amount of events that I've been able to make it to. You know, they are expensive to get there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been a limiting factor for me. I was able to make it to Sorcery Con up in Seattle because that was on the West Coast, and I'm located on the same coast. So it was a little easier there. I have not really been to any events besides that. We're working on getting some LGSs within a few hours away on board. I'm working with a couple buddies. So hopefully we can set up some smaller things there. As far as bigger events, Sorcery Con so far has been the only one I've been to. I will be attending the Spring Sorcery social event here in Baltimore in a couple of weeks. So that'll be really, really fun. That was mostly the fault of everybody else who were pinging me and reaching out to me like, oh, are you going to be there? You have to make it there. It's going to be huge. We love to have you there. And da 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 da. So I really tried to make that work, and I fit it in, and I made the logistics happen. So I'm going to be at that one. I'm very excited, and I'm so excited to meet all these artists that are going to be there too. That's going to be really, really cool. I love meeting the artists, and Drew Tucker's such a fun guy, so I can't wait to meet him. So aside from that one, I will also be attending the next Sorcery Con in Vegas coming up here towards the end of the year, and I will be a full-time judge there at that one. So I'll probably be, competing in some of the smaller little drafts or sealed events that people put on their own outside of the official ones. But I'll be there. So far, those are the two biggest ones that I plan on. I would really love to make Gen Con work. I'm not sure if the logistics are going to work out. It kind of comes down to more of the financial end of that one. Plus, we only get so much vacation time here at work. So I'm trying to not let my boss get too overwhelmed with that. But he's been pretty chill about it. So so far, those are the two biggest that I plan to attend. But I hope with all these other events popping up, it's so cool to see all these events popping up left.
I think we might have a little
wireless,
a
little wireless connection issue again. Yeah, it would seem like it. But in the meantime, welcome to everybody who's just joining us. We had KevMo zoom out a little while earlier, and I think he should be getting back anytime soon. Thank you for joining us, Spin Scott. Amazing. Hi, KevMo.
Sorry, I'm back.
Need to plant some of those Wi-Fi trees.
But yeah, so yeah, hopefully, let's go.
Again, we will just fill out the time so we can all hang tight until KevMo is back.
But it's nice, freeze frame his dead.
Yeah, but he looks very excited, so I mean, it's pretty good.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Amazing.
Iconic.
Yes, Ochoa, for sure. It is absolutely iconic. But in the meantime, I can just say a huge shout out and thank you to anyone joining the Ask and Raz tournament here in Europe. We just had a huge tournament just this Saturday, and it's so cool to see a lot of you in chat. And thank you to everyone who made the trip. We had players for all over Europe, 6 different countries, so it was amazing. KevMo, are you back with us?
Hopefully, I am happy that you guys know how to fill some time when that happens. I had to check and make sure my cat wasn't playing with any cables there, but they've been, unfortunately for the timing, they've been the internet service provider company has been kind of doing some stuff around the park, and so hopefully it's not the case with that. But we're pushing through. We're making it work.
Indeed.
Yeah, we the comments, you just need to read them in chat. It's absolutely we're getting iconic and Stopcast Silence and Sharknado killed the Wi-Fi. It's pretty epic, but it's all good fun. People are luckily happy to hang around, so that's pretty good.
I've been taking a peek. I've been taking a peek here and there at some of these comments, but I can't wait to look back through them and read some of these.
Yeah. And again, thanks to everybody joining. It definitely makes it even more fun to hang out with everybody for a bit here. So these were some of the events that you're looking forward to. And do just please do write your questions in the chat. We will pick them up as we go along. But next up is Arthurian Legends, and people are excited. We are beyond excited for it, very stoked. How about you? What do you think about the whole theme, and what do you hope it will bring into sorcery?
Oh, I can't wait. I'm a big fan of the Arthurian Legends. I remember as a kid, it was, I believe it was a required reading back in the day to read the Once and Future King. So that kind of sparked my interest. I also loved I grew up off Disney, and so I loved the Sword in the Stone Disney movie. So I've been a fan of, Knights and the Round Table, and, we all love Monty Python's rendition of all that. So I think it's such a fun story to tell. And, who doesn't love knights and dragons and mystical maidens and random swords being handed out by women in the lake. And so I think they have a lot of room here to do a lot of really cool things with, you know, castles and all that stuff. So I'm excited. I also am a big fan of like themed decks. They call them tribal decks in Magic. It's, you know, when you use the same minion type across, you know, the whole deck. So I'm a big fan of the Mortals decks that we see popping up right now. And so I can only, you know, I can't wait to see what kind of support we see for Mortals decks, or even like Knights, or, you know, there's that Merfolk that popped up. I would love a Merfolk deck being able to do that.
Being a blue player, huh?
Oh yes. And then you know, you have Merlin and you know, wizards and stuff like that. So I love the idea that we might get more support for spellcasters or magical trinkets. The potions idea is just really, really cool. It's exciting to see more like utility artifacts that we might be able to build around. So I'm very excited for it. I can't wait to see what they do. There's a lot of stuff they can do with this, and we're all speculating so much. They really made a good choice making the alpha beta set so big at 403/402 cards, because now Arthurian Legends, they did say that it's going to be a little bit of a smaller set, but I mean, anything under, you know, 400 cards, even around 300, is still a very generous set. So just thinking about what we might be able to see in Arthurian Legends, I can't wait. I'm very excited for it. I want a Merlin card for sure, though.
Yeah.
I need a Merlin card.
That is going to happen. I'm certain of it.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope
think
so.
It wouldn't be an Arthurian Legends set without a Merlin.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, maybe they do like a Taliesin, like a different sort of like mage character that isn't called Merlin, but I would definitely be on board for a Merlin card as well.
You are right. Sorcery Gamblers Club, Josh. It is 250 that was announced.
Plus 250 plus.
250 plus.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't know how much plus is, but yeah, 250.
Yeah.
So that's still a really big set, actually. It's
and
not,
like Spin Scott. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to say, like Spin Scott said, the tri-element sites, it's so cool to see. They spoiled that one recently, so it's cool to see like more multicolored sites getting some love. And hopefully one of the biggest things, so not only Merlin am I excited about, I would love to see, obviously, I don't know if I know in the Disney version, at least, they had Archimedes was Merlin's owl. I don't know if that really, I don't know the stories enough to know the smaller details if Merlin actually had a pet owl and it was named something, but I would love to see an owl finally make its way into sorcery. But multi-element spells, I would love to see that. And we've been speculating, hoping that we see that in Arthurian Legends. So that's probably the biggest thing I hope to see, is like double threshold spells, something requiring, you know, more than one threshold to cast. So I'm really hoping we see that. And the fact that we are getting more multi-element sites is hopefully a sure sign that we're going to be able to get that.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I think it would make sense. I could also see them waiting and just giving us some sites, and like maybe doing just a few of those like multi threshold ones, but definitely excited to see it. Ted's Basement, this is like a comment I'm just picking now because it was like a topic of discussion for the Ask and Rask event this past weekend. And he's saying that he would really like precons for Arthurian Legends. And if anybody knows why they're not doing the precons for Arthurian Legends. So any thoughts on that, KevMo? Would you have liked to see some precons for Arthurian Legends, or are you good with it?
I mean, I love the idea of the precons and what they're meant to be used for. I am a little bit bummed that we didn't see precons in Arthurian Legends. I feel like right now the precons are set up to have like elemental avatars. And I could see why in Arthurian Legends, you know, in future sets, they wouldn't want to do another elemental in each and every set. But I could see how they might have been able to break away from that and maybe do a precon where it was, you know, a Mortals deck and a Spellcaster deck and a Merfolk deck, something like that. So it was a little surprising that they weren't going to do a precon for this set. But at the same time, I can understand why they would probably want to hold those for more of like the core sets versus something like Arthurian Legends, where they have said that this is going to be kind of its own standalone set. It's going to be able to be its kind of own little expansion. So I am a little disappointed. It would have been cool to see, but I do understand, logistically why they made that choice. Plus, they want to make their current precons that they have, still something that people want to buy. So yeah, little disappointed. It would have been fun, but they only have so much stuff that they can kind of do with these precons. So hopefully they. Sorry, I was just gonna add real quick. Hopefully, because we aren't getting the precons, hopefully they supplement that with something cool in Arthurian Legends to kind of make up for that.
Yeah, I hope so. And I think like the general consensus that I also can see from chat is that like they're really nice and people were super happy with the precons. And I do hope that they might consider reprinting the beta precons because it is like a nice starting point. And then you also get to have some beta cards, and then you can add that like to the pool when you're starting to build, if you're a new player coming into Sorcery with Arthurian Legends. Just because it was such a nice product and an easy way to get people into the game.
Yeah, exactly. And also, if you're not, professional deck builder, it's really nice to have precon decks to just get a feeling of what does a good deck need to have, and then you can, mix and match and do some add-ons for the decks, and have your own take on them. But having something to build around at the get-go, I think that's a really nice help for new players. But of course, it's also difficult for a firm like Sorcery to make new precon decks without watering out some of the cards, and you still need to have some sort of power level in the decks. And if you put too many uniques in, people become unhappy. So I can understand why they might not want to do precon decks for Arthurian Legends, but I hope that they're going to do a reprint of the better ones.
Yeah, hopefully. I think that could be a nice way to do it at least.
Yeah, I do just like the idea, the concept of the precon decks though, because as a Magic player, that's one of the things that got me into playing Commander was I bought a precon deck, and I was able to soup it up and make it my own little thing. And seeing that same thing here in Sorcery that we saw from Alpha and Beta, it's a great way to get people interested in playing. I even made some precon upgrade lists and a whole episode around it. So yeah, I'm a little disappointed we didn't see that, because it is a great product. It is a great way to get people started, especially at times when you see like now where beta is hard to come by. You can't really get your hands on it affordably, but the precons are still available. And it's a great way to just get your hands on the product and get started if you can't get your hands on certain other types of products. So yeah, a little bummed out that they didn't do it for Arthurian Legends, but hopefully the next set.
Yeah, hope so. Spin Scott is also saying that a reprint of the beta precons with an added Arthurian Legends booster instead of the beta booster might be like a nice way to cross reference it and get people into Arthurian Legends as well. I think that would be cool. A nice way to do it.
Take notes.
Yeah. We hope
somebody are listening. Yeah.
Or even like it would have even been cool for them to reprint them with like an alternate art for the elemental avatars and have like an Arthurian Legends, just for that one avatar. But then, that probably would have added to, something to do with collectability and all that stuff. So
yeah, I could definitely imagine it would go into like some difficult territory maybe.
But it would still be cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So we have Ted Spaceman saying, what does everyone think about having an unlimited set to keep it as a cheaper set for new players? What are your thoughts on that?
So I know the talk about an unlimited or revised or whatever you want to call it set is it's been going around here and there. It's definitely a topic that has been I don't want to say controversial, but it's been very opinionated around this topic. I think reprints are something that's a very delicate conversation to have in any sort of trading card game or collectible card game. I do think that reprints to a certain extent are very healthy for being able to get the cards out to players. We don't have something like a reserve list in Sorcery, and I don't think they plan on doing something like that. There are cards that are harder to get a hold of, which is like a pseudo reserve list. But I think an unlimited set or revised set would be healthy for getting these cards from Alpha, Beta, and some of these other sets in later. But I know the team, they haven't outright made comments regarding this on Discord, but they have said that if they, this isn't off the table, but if they do plan on having a revised or unlimited, reprint set, It would have to be when they actually have a few sets under their belt. And right now we're still technically on the first set. Alpha and beta are basically the same set, and beta is the first retail available set. So if they did do that, it would probably be after the third set, I would think. By then we're 3 years in, 3 sets deep. They have a handful of cards they can, pull from with 3 sets in. They can have the possibility of even reprinting some of the mini sets, cards from the mini sets in those. But yeah, I definitely agree that you do need a card pool to print from. You can't just reprint the whole beta set or the whole, Arthurian Legends set. But I think it will be healthy, once we get to that point, being able to get these cards in there. But they do have to make something that's that makes them discernible from their previous counterparts, whether that's alternate art. Alternate art would be cool in a revised or unlimited set, because then it not only allows those cards, the same mechanics of those cards to get back out there to the players and they have accessibility, but now it makes that reprint set even more sought after, because now it has this alternate art and you're not changing the mechanics, you're just changing the art, so it adds some collectability. So yeah, I would love seeing that. Not anytime soon, not right now, and not yet. But maybe a couple more sets from now, I think it would be healthy for the game where it's at, and hopefully that becomes a lot more available than we've seen, some instances of alpha and beta be. So
definitely, I think that's a very good point, actually, and I think you are absolutely right. Right now we know that Sorcery is working 2 sets ahead.
4 recently.
4 sets recently. Yeah. So it's going to be a little down the road, but at that point there might actually be, a real demand for having some of those older cards coming back into the game, and at that point, an unlimited or revised set might be very good for the game, actually. So,
and just to not to go on too big a tangent here, but just because we mentioned that they are working a few sets ahead, there haven't been any like big mentions of anything, but they have kind of hinted at little things about the set after Arthurian Legends. And all I've heard, at least personally, is specific artists themselves who have been working on this set saying that they are very excited about this set. It seems to be a little bit more of a darker approach to some things, and they are very excited with the art that they've been commissioned to make for this set. And if the artists themselves are very excited about this set and the art going into this, I can only imagine what it's going to be. I mean, I've seen rumors anywhere from like a heaven hell sort of theme, angels, demons sort of thing, or even like a dark fantasy sort of thing. So, but yeah, I'm excited that they're already working on these future sets and getting us excited. Hopefully we see a little spoiler, not a spoiler, but maybe a tease soon before the end of the year of what the next set is going to be.
Yeah, for sure. We spoke with Elvira, who said a few choice words like mysterious and dark, and we've heard other artists mention a couple of things. So indeed, I think there is plenty to look forward to, and we're like only just getting started.
Yeah, and also Elvira's, excitement for that next set was almost tangible.
Yeah. I think it's going to be very interesting to see where it goes, and also like if they continue on doing set sizes in like the 250, or if they go back to maybe having larger sets like alpha, beta, or maybe just like switch between it, because that does make sense to make sure that there are also some pretty good sets out there that have a decent size.
I just saw Ochoa pop up here. My wallet isn't ready. Neither is mine, friend. My wallet has been very sad since Sorcery. Since I learned about Sorcery. So it's the fun thing about that is because I've been wanting to buy into Sorcery, it's been helping me condense down my unneeded stuff here, because I've been finding more things where I'm like, oh, do I need that? I could sell that. That could be a box of Sorcery. Do I need that? I could sell these. That could be, so it's
Sorcery is helping you stay like minimalistic in your perfect.
Exactly.
Okay,
though we did get the cat, which the cat has added some expenses, so it balances itself.
Sorry, Kitty, you're going to go.
So Kevin Fulton has a full-on guess here. They're going to have Arthurian Legends, Angels and Demons, a set like Legends with a lot of dual thresholds, and then a revised set. So you heard it here first. mark it down. Let's see if this is how the way it goes. I could see something like that panning out for sure.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I've seen from some players, not all, is they, and you see this with Arthurian Legends, they are concerned about a little bit of like a religious undertone, having to do with the Crusades, and then Heaven Hell, you would have this kind of religious undertone. But I feel like that's very specific for certain types of people, and it kind of just goes back to the product, just like any game. If it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, it's okay to skip certain things based on your own preferences and your own opinions about certain things. I think Magic has done a great job at trying to balance these things out, and we see a lot of different ways that they kind of balance out those themes. And it doesn't seem to be a big thing for them. So I think if Sorcery Team does it in a certain way, I think it'll be fine. And just the emphasis on more of like the demons and the darker stuff is going to be really cool to see what they do there. So, I just saw the latest comment. Elvira mini set.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Take my money.
Man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then we're getting poor at home.
Then we're going bankrupt.
We're selling kids, kidneys, whatever we can do. Yeah, and I also think this is something that I'm really hoping for, very much sensing that a full-on Greek mythology set is going to happen too. I hope so. A while back, just like while back. Yeah, way back, we did a video like panning out all the different themes in the alpha set, like where's the art coming from, what kind of culture, and I think we had so many, I think maybe 17 different like categories.
Yeah, but very heavily on Greek and Roman mythology.
But I like the fact that everything is already as a theme in the alpha and beta set. So anywhere we go from here on, it feels like it's connected all the way back to the beginning. So they really started alpha off strong with like making sure that they're not limited in any way. And I think that's going to be very nice going forward. There's like so many interesting avenues to go from here.
Yeah, I agree. I love that alpha and beta saw them touching on all these different like you said, themes. We see a little bit of Roman this, we see a little bit of Greek that. We even saw some ancient Egyptian stuff with the Sphinxes. Yeah. We saw a lot of different things that they can kind of expand on later. It felt very much like a core set that now they can branch off and do these other things with. So I would love to see a more Greek or Roman mythology focused. I would love to see like a Nordic or a Celtic, Viking. Would love to see even like an Eastern, Eastern, they have all their deities and they have their demons and they have their, so all that stuff would be really, really cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think this leads beautifully into like the next question, because we're already like kind of touching it. So Kevin, if you could decide, Eric, he came up to you and say, hey, Kevin, it's your birthday. I'm giving you a set for sorcery. What theme do you want to have?
Oh, man. Well, first of all, if Eric came up to me for a special happy birthday, that would be very exciting. Hopefully there was a very large box of sorcery cards there for his gift. Let's see. Oh, my own set. Again, I love this mythology stuff. I would love to see any of those, but I think my number one go-to that I always kind of talk about is I would love to see a dark fairy tale. I love like the Brothers Grimm. I love in Magic, they had like they have their own little fairy tale set that they already have. And they've done the Eldraine. That's a very popular one. I was a very big fan of when they brought that back with the second Eldraine set. So I would love to see that. A dark fairy tale, the Brothers Grimm kind of dark vibe, even like revisiting some of these fairy tales that we're all familiar with and have been kind of Disneyfied. You see that with like the Little Mermaid and all these stories that we know, but Disney has kind of made into a more childish thing. But we've seen darker instances of these tales being told, and that stuff could probably work really well in this set without stepping toes on copyright stuff. So that stuff would be really fun. Besides that, I would love to see like an Egyptian set, because I love ancient Egypt. I love a lot of the mythology that they have there, a lot of the spirituality and their connection to the environment and to the universe. So that would be probably a very cool set as well. And anything Egyptian. And we did see some of that stuff, like I said, with the scarabs and with the Sphinx. And a
for
handful of
sure.
things, so.
Indeed. I see a lot of people saying, Norse mythology, Odin, dark elves,
Yeah.
dwarves and elves. And actually, a Norse mythology set could entail all of these, fairy tale creatures. We have
Absolutely.
elves and we have dark elves and
We have
dwarves in Norse
dwarves,
mythology.
yeah.
So, mhm.
Yeah, and we also have a lot of like really, I'm going to personal here, dark shit. Like in Danish mythology, a lot of like the fairy tale stories, like the older ones, are extremely creepy. And I could definitely see something like that working out really nicely for sorcery.
Well, remember all these old fairy tales that we know that are really, really dark were probably used back in the day to scare kids into behaving.
Yeah.
And, so, but yeah, I would love to see that stuff. And we do need some of these minion types. We need to see, elves. It would be cool to see elves. It would be cool to see orcs and more instances of like dwarves. And so we definitely need some more love. I would love to see more minion types come out to support, themed tribal decks. All we have right now is a very limited selection of, some here and there, but mortals is getting a lot of love. Spirits is definitely a big one too. But I would love to see, some of these smaller minion types get some more love. Plus, I want to see a squirrel minion. I want to see a squirrel type. I think that would be really fun. Just like not even as a throwback to like the meme aspect from Magic, but I'm a forest guy, so I would love to make a deck fully based on like getting my squirrels out there and taking down an enchantress with a squirrel deck. Would be fun.
Yeah,
There's actually also a squirrel in Norse mythology called Ratatosk that runs up and down the trunk of Yggdrasil.
Yeah, and we already have Yggdrasil, so how appropriate would it be to have that squirrel? So I'm just gonna be listing. We are getting like some Mayan Aztec themed. There's definitely like more people who are into that. Kevin just wants some gnomes. Solar God, you're getting banned from chat. He's saying Care Bears. Let's hope we don't go that route, guys.
My Little Pony special.
No secret layers in sorcery, please.
No.
That's why you get fan altars. You can get fan altars of all your favorite stuff.
Yeah, but let's keep the Care Bears out. We're also having like fairies. I think that would be pretty cool.
That would be a really, really cool one. Yep. Mayan Aztec stuff like that would be fantastic. That would be a really neat avenue to go.
Yeah, and I mean, there's like a lot of like folklore, myth, religious, interesting things. So I would love to see something like that as well for sure. Chipmunk deck.
Chipmunk deck, yeah. I would probably take squirrels over chipmunks personally, but that's just my personal opinion. But it would be cool to see more of these like forest creatures being able to, especially if we get more emphasis in Arthurian Legends. We saw them putting a little bit more emphasis on like the creatures of the forest. You saw that amazing artwork. Was that by Severin? I believe it was the gathering in the woods.
No, that's the Stanford, the Seeley Court.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that right there kind of gave me hope that they're going to maybe put a little more emphasis on this like mystical, forest creatures coming together, being part of what these more nature heavy avatars or minions are going to use to be able to do something. So I would love to see more forest creatures coming out and being able to take down a shark deck or, yeah. And exactly like Spin Scott just said, more use of assorted animals would be, that card needs some love.
Oh, yeah. I actually brought that up on the first time we were on your podcast. The assorted animals.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that we see that art on assorted animals means that it could be, it could be a possibility to see every single one of those animals types, snakes. And I think there were little, was there a squirrel on there? I don't know if there was a squirrel. There was definitely like a snake and some bats. And so hopefully we get some of those.
Bat.
Snake, mouse. Yeah. Rats. Rats would be cool to see, especially in the Dark Fairy Tale set. Would be cool to see rats.
Yeah, and I could also see like some cats. Also, because we have like in the Egyptian, we have some cats. We also have like Freya, her wagon in Nordic mythology is also it has cats in the front. So I mean, cats could be a nice thing, especially if we also want to build towards some more like typal decks. I think that could be pretty cool.
I do think that that the sorcery team did kind of put themselves in a difficult spot right now as far as introducing like something like cats, for example. We have the snow leopard is a beast type.
Yeah.
So if they did introduce something like cats, they would have to retroactively go back and add certain ones to be part of that. And so I think they kind of set themselves up for adding certain things, but they also kind of limited themselves because they didn't add those types in the beta set. So we would have to work around that a little bit. So
yeah, it might have to do a little like errata to the rules or something like that.
Yeah, they could just all be beasts.
Yeah, sure. That would
might be broken and powerful at some point. But,
yeah, pretty much.
So wolves.
And we're also seeing like more vampires. That would also be a nice theme to explore into.
Indeed.
I think a horror set would be really neat, because not even touching on the fairy tales, but just like a horror set where it's like vampires, zombies, undead, spirits, stuff like that, just on like a spooky set would be really, really cool. So yeah, I'll definitely go for that one if they come out with like a horror set. Yeah, and
I'm just gonna be honest. I think pretty much anything I'm gonna go for, but I definitely have some favorites amongst them. Ted's Basement is saying that it would be cool to have a mountain site that could block movement across it, and let's group up with other mountain sites to create like a huge blockade, like a wall of mountains. That sounds like a pretty fun idea.
Did KevMo?
Maybe we have a little. We'll just
I can just. I think it would be fun, but I also think that they need to be careful not to have too much restriction on movement on the grid, because it can be really troublesome, and it could grind the game to a halt if too much restrictions are put into the grid.
Who made the comment? Who made the comment about mountains getting in the way of being able to do things?
That was epic timing.
So going back onto that, I think the sorcery team has definitely laid a great foundation for being able to do more effects in the future that manipulate the board space and limit certain movements with stuff like that. We see like Rift Valley, we see a lot of different things, Edge of the World. We see these limiting cards that can change the way that the board is set up. I would love to see something that like locks down a whole row or column that you can't do something like that. So stuff like that would be really, really cool to see. More realm manipulation effects. And I think Eric even at one point said that if not in Arthurian Legends, the set after that, they would have a little bit more freedom to do some of these wacky, I say wacky, but it's like board manipulation effects that and he had said that they might not see too much of that in Arthurian Legends, because lifting up a castle and being able to like move that is a little bit less thematic than something that they can do outside of a set that is focused on that. But it does sound like they want to be able to do more of that stuff, and so I'm excited to see what they come up with.
Yeah, I mean, like moving castles, that would fit beautifully into like a horror Lovecraftian set, like having moving sites and stuff like that. So who knows? That could definitely also be something that they could work on.
Or even if they touched on like the Arabian Nights or like an Arabian sort of set, there was you get part of that story where the genie like lifted the palace up to move it, sort of thing. You can kind of go into that whole sort of thing with something like that.
Underworld or any ancient civilization would also be cool. Yeah, I mean, if they ever feel like they need some inspiration, they can definitely just ask all the players. People seem to have like a lot of good ideas of fun stuff to do. And it does seem like, speaking of Arthurian Legends, that there might be going for some, like, there's a lot of like back row things. They're doing more like manipulation and like having control over where you can place your stuff. So it might be interesting to see if that's something that continues on and we get more of that.
I like this Underworld idea. Bring anything that will bring river Styx into an actual playable card would be really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Indeed. So I think we need to round up, but last question, Kevin,
Mm-hmm.
because, and we've asked this of both Simon and Chase, but where do you see sorcery in the next 5 years?
In my collection. Sorcery, yeah, 5 years from now. I like the fact that we're doing one set a year. Personally, for the longest time, I was contemplating between would I like to see one set or two sets, and for the longest time, I was like, even 2 sets a year would be great. But now I look at it, and it's like we're already in June, and beta came out in November of last year, and to think that we would have already had another set out now, when you look back, it's like, wow, that we didn't really have a whole lot of time. Like 6 months seems like a long time, but in all actuality, I'm still making decks out of beta. So
Yeah.
as much as I would love to see, the possibility of 2 sets in a year, I think one set is going to be exciting to see. So in 5 years, I hope that we get a very diverse set of cards. I would love to see, like we talked about, some more of these fun sets to make thematic decks happen, tribal decks happen. I would love to see more support for all these things that we keep, jotting ideas down for, these dark fairy tale sets. I would love to see all these become reality, these ancient civilizations. But hopefully, once they get, a handful of years down the road, hopefully they will consider doing 2 sets in a year. But 5 years from now, I hope we finally get a beta binder. I hope we a set binder. I do hope that they continue to do the curios in each of these sets. I really love what they're doing with that, the chase card aspect of it, the surprise aspect of it. But 5 years from now, I hope that we see a lot more store support. I hope that we see a lot more things happening for local players, and these big events.
I have a kid calling.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's Eric. Eric's come in and say, "Hey, I got."
No, I think it's the little one. So I'll be right back.
But yeah, I think in 5 years, it'll just be really cool to see the health, this game be in a healthy place. I think just a lot more availability in stores for players, for Europe and places across the seas. I know that they've said that they've been working on, trying to get stuff set up logistically. So I think as much as I want to say, set stuff and card stuff, I think just health of the game would be great to see 5 years from now. I want to be able to see this healthy balance of collection, but also accessibility. I want to see more local store support, more stores getting on board with this whole thing, earning dust, doing play events. And I also would love to see maybe the team coming in and being able to do, I know that they said they don't really want to host events and touch on events themselves, but it would be cool to see them setting up, maybe an official like sorcery convention that they put on, in a year, and that can kind of bounce around to different countries or something like that. So that's what I kind of hope to see. I hope to see good things, big things for this game. I love this game.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's definitely being at Askenras, like the tournament here this weekend. It was really one of the remarkable things. Like people were like, okay, they like different stuff, but everybody was like in unison agreeing that we want to see the game thrive. We want to see more players. We want to just make sure that sorcery is around in 5 years and doing well, so we can all continue to like play it, but also connect over it, because the community aspect of sorcery so far has just been amazing. How have you found like the community?
Well, first of all, real quick, I do want to mention, it was really cool to see your guys' event that you guys helped put on be very successful. I'm still catching up on some of the footage you guys have been putting out there and little interviews with people. It looked like a really fun event. That's really cool that you guys had some artist support there. I would love to make it to an event out there one day. So we'll start the savings account for that. Sorry, I got distracted. Yen's coming in. I was going to make a side quip about What did Eric say? Are we in trouble? Do we have to shut down the?
Yeah, he didn't put you on the lockdown. You're back again.
The Pinkertons came.
Or Chase had something to say about the beta binders joke or something.
Yeah. No, the question was just like, how has your experience with the community been so far? Like, what are the things you appreciate most about the community?
Honestly, I appreciate how healthy the community has seemed to be. It's refreshing to see a community based on a card game. You know, we see these different communities based on different games, and most of the time, you know, people are very friendly and welcoming, but in time we do see these communities start to, with the competitive aspect of it, we do sometimes tend to see some toxicity leak out into these communities. We see people that are playing the game for kind of the wrong reasons. I mean, it's fair. Everybody has the you know, in all fairness, everybody has the right to play the game for the reasons they want to. But when that kind of starts getting into a toxic mindset of you getting upset and, you know, flipping tables and stuff like that,
yeah,
you kind of have to look back and see, like, why are we, you know, why are you playing the game? What are you, you know? So far the community has been very healthy. I think this is, it has a big part to do with the Eric's Curiosa team being very active on the main Discord. And we saw, I had mentioned this a little bit unfortunate instance with that whole Rudy promo. That sparked, you know, a little bit of controversy and stuff in the Discord, and we saw the team having to just a little, you know, I don't want to open that kind of worms, but we did see the team have to step in and mitigate some of these things and moderate. And I do appreciate that they are very good at moderating the Discord and the community and keeping things on a very healthy level, while also making sure to not make people feel like their opinions and voices and thoughts can't be expressed. And I think I continue to circle back to something that Simon had said, and it also altered my own perspective a little bit, because we all have hard days. We've all said things under, you know, on the Discord because of passion and, you know, our opinions on stuff. But the way that he said it was, everybody has a right to talk about the things that they're passionate about. And a lot of these things that people express anger about or frustrations comes from a place of passion. And it's because we're so passionate about this game and we have so much love and investment in this game, we are passionate about it. And sometimes those passions come out in ways that might be seen as negative, but it's because we want our voices to be heard and we want ourselves to be valued, and we care about this game. And sometimes something that threatens what we want to get out of this game can come across certain ways. But I feel like the team is doing very well at building this community, keeping it healthy. The players, them putting this emphasis on the players to be able to build these events.
I think we have a Wi-Fi
got KevMo
again. Yeah, but I mean, community has been a great thing, and like at the Ask tournament, it was also a great thing. And every, I mean, like I think 99% of all our interactions with you guys out there have been like super positive, super supportive. And I think that does a lot for like people, also the content creators, to like motivate us to keep going.
I apologize, everybody.
I can't, no problem.
Next time I do a live event, I'm going to reset my router just in case, so it's a fresh reboot. So I don't know where I cut off there, but you know, long story short, I think just the fact that the team, you know, a lot of people feel different ways about the team putting a lot of emphasis on the community to do a lot of these events. And while that's different, and while we would love to see the company do more events, I think they were very smart in their emphasis on wanting players to put these events together, because it has built the community. We see the players coming together, the community coming together, put these events on. And I think that's been a big part of why the community has grown so strong together and been so close, is because we're all putting on these events out of our love and appreciation for this game. So I love the community. I love seeing everything that's been happening and coming out, and, you know, fan made this and fan based that, and altars here and fan artwork here, and, you know, tributes to this and that. And it's been really cool. And the fact that the artists are such a big part of the community is another huge thing too, because, you know, other games don't really have too much of an emphasis on involving the artists, and Sorcery has just put such a huge emphasis on interacting with the artists, having the artists be a part of this game, a part of this community, and even attending these events and doing privately commissioned this and that. It's been really cool to see the artists have a big place in our community as well. So I've been loving the community.
Cool. And I think we can fairly say that the community loves you back and are very excited about, the podcast and following up with all the activities that you're doing. So I'm just going to make sure that after we finish up here, I will be adding a link, of course, to the podcast so everybody can go listen to it. If you haven't already, put it on like your weekly notice, because it is definitely something you don't want to miss out on. So Kevin, any last words here for the viewers and anyone watching back later?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for everybody who is a listener and a supporter, whether you're in the Discord community or not. I did just put up that Patreon account, so thank you so much for everybody who was an early supporter. Some people got on there before I even made the announcement live, so thank you to all those guys. No expectation for anybody to want to hop on there, but a big thank you to everybody who feels like they do want to support, and all of the proceeds that I get from something like Patreon is all just kind of getting put back into the podcast. I'm going to use those for subscription costs for the software that we use. I do a lot of giveaways and contests and stuff in there, so a lot of that goes back into trying to get more cool things to give away, and to hopefully pay for a privately commissioned piece of art for some cool tokens or something. So it all just goes back into the podcast and back out to you guys. So I just want to say thank you, and I'm sorry in advance for these last handful of episodes to take so long to get out. I've been working a lot on the back end of things, like you've seen with the Patreon account and some of these contests. I'm working on getting a YouTube thing out there as well. So that and my life has gotten a little busier. It's the summer season, which is very busy. So I am working on getting these out. The episode with you guys will be coming out here soon. I was working on that before the interview, and I'll be working on that after this. So I do want to get that out there. So the episodes have slowed down a little bit, but I am going to try to get those out there as often as I can. So bear with me a little bit. And thanks for being so patient with my mountain Wi-Fi here.
Thank you so much for joining, and thank you to everybody watching. Please do hit that like button. It's super important for the video to get out there. And if you're enjoying the sorcery content, be sure to subscribe. And everybody, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will be seeing you in the next video. Oh, Kevin, go.
Real quick, I do want to add one tiny thing here.
I
don't know if the logistics are going to work or not, but me and a buddy have been working at possibly trying to see what would go into making like a national park circuit possible.
Ooh.
Where we saw with Courtesan Cup, they had certain events in certain places all leading to one big thing. I don't want to promise anything, but I would love to make cool. a national park thing happen here in the US. So it might not be, obviously this year is already mostly gone as far as something like that can work out, but I am going to look a little further into that, and don't get your hopes up too much, but it's in the works of us trying to see if we can work on something like that. So I'll just throw that out there real quick.
Cool. And then we will be sure to also add the link for your Discord, where you will be keeping people updated about it if and when it happens.
Thank you.
Yeah, but thank you very much, Kevin, for being on this cardboard conversation and sharing your knowledge and passion about sorcery and all things TCG with us here.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I'm sorry if my comments went on a little longer and I went on certain tangents here. I love to chat with you guys. So, but yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate you guys. I love working with you guys, and just collaborating with you guys. So, yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you guys, and hopefully we'll do another one of these soon.
Absolutely,
we definitely will.
We will do. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.